Thursday night episode of American Hammers TV. Justin's back from the big move. What's going on, Justin?
Yeah, it sucked. As you all know, moving is one of the worst things, but I survived. I'm doing well. How are you, Tim?
Doing good, my man. Doing good. Busy. So while you were away,
Yeah, it seems like there have been the last 2 weeks. There's been a whole bunch of stuff. This StreamYard thing.
Yeah,
It looks good though. I'm excited, man.
cool, man. Thanks. Yeah, it was actually the West Ham Fan TV boys that told us about it. They had a little group chat going on Twitter with Hammers Chat and a couple other of the YouTube channels that use Google Hangouts, saying, hey, we found this. This is what we should probably use going forward. It's super easy and awesome. And sure enough, it is. I'm very happy with it so far. We're still learning it as we go. But yeah, so there's a few things we got going on right now that I need to discuss with everybody. First and foremost, if you're watching this video and you haven't subscribed yet, please do. Seriously. We need some more subscriptions. We're trying to get to 1,000 as fast as possible. We are the fastest growing West Ham related YouTube channel out there in 7 short months. Actually, we're in our 8th month right now. We have like 767 subscriptions. So that's subscribers. That's awesome. We average over 100 a month, which is great. So we'd kind of like to get to 1,000 before October, which would be cool. And then once we do, we'll start giving stuff away, doing some cool goodie bags and sending them out to different people, random people. What else we got going on? Oh, American Hammers Radio. The second episode of the flagship podcast was recorded last night. I just got to edit it after this show, and I'll post it up by midnight Eastern time tonight. Also, there's 4 other podcasts in the works. 2 of our British viewers, our favorite British viewers, they're going to be doing a podcast together, an end of the month review type of show with some comedic elements. We also have 2 guys from DC Irons plus Gary from South Carolina doing a show, which I will post a poll because they want help figuring out what they want to name the show. They've come up with a long list. I helped them narrow it down to about 3, and we're going to put that up as a poll tonight on Twitter. So if any of you have Twitter, come on over and vote for it because they're going to be cracking this weekend. We're going to start their stuff this weekend. I know Gingerbread from Twitter, Jim Stebbins. He's finally got a co-host to do a show with him podcast. Who else is there? There's a bunch of Jay from Iowa, and who we've had on the show a couple times doing different things for us, and Kevin, the guy who hooked the brother up with this fancy hat, man. You guys got to see this. Look at this. Look at this. Beautiful.
That's
beautiful.
Nice.
And it's got Columbus C13. They're like 3-legged mare where they hang out, and this beautiful thing, and then the crossed hammers, just like that South Park avatar that he made for me with Timmy is wearing this hat. So thanks, Kevin, you're the man. And yeah, so Kevin and Jay from Iowa are going to be doing a show as well, and it's not all going to be the same shows. They're not all going to be doing match reviews, previews, and blah 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 blah. They're going to be doing we're all going to be doing something slightly different. So that'll be cool to see because we're basically trying to get as many podcasts on our radio network as we have on the YouTube. What else? Scarves. We still need to sell some more scarves. Sooner we sell our goal, the sooner we can print them out and ship them out. So please, if you haven't, a lot of people voted on them. So we had a list of, we had a bunch of posts saying, here's 10 different scarf designs. Pick your favorite one. Ton of people voted for this design, and not nearly as many bought one. So please buy one. Thank you. I hate saying that, but please, thank you. Anyway, tonight we got a funny episode. Not really funny, but we're going to be doing something slightly different. We tried it out last night, and it worked. Last night was a mistake. Last night, I thought I had a gentleman booked from Philly, but I actually double booked him on next Wednesday or 2 Wednesdays from now. So that was fun. And yeah, so we pulled a guest from the chat room, which we're looking to do tonight. So if any of you guys want to come on in with us, we have room for 1 or 2 tops. Yeah, if you want to pop in, let me know, and I'll pull you into the chat, and we'll go over this stuff. West Ham news. We're going to go through these West Ham news items. This is kind of fun, and pick one and discuss it. And also the Hammers polls. We're going to go over like 3 or 4 Hammers polls tonight. That said, Justin, you got anything coming up that you want to mention before we get cracking?
Yeah, we spoke a little bit about it earlier today. Had the idea of that opposition review, I guess you could call it. So going to the pub at AJ's and having the Globe, which is the other premier soccer club just down the street, you interact a lot with a lot of Chicago supporters groups. Not necessarily that we would only speak to, and pardon the background noise, got some renovations going on, but not that we would only speak to Chicago people, but it's nice to just get, sort of your foot in the door with those opposition groups. So going to start, don't have the time for the Brighton game, but starting for the Watford game, going to do some opposition reviews, talking with some American supporters from the teams that we're going to play in the upcoming weekend. Talk to them about how their team's doing, what their team needs to improve on, what their team's doing well. And then, of course, talk about how they match up against West Ham and their predictions and all that. So thought that could be a good addition to the American Hammers TV network.
100%. So I was excited when you told me that. Originally, I didn't quite understand because that's just how text works. I didn't quite understand. I was thinking something different because I didn't, hear the tone out of it. But anyway, no, it makes absolute sense. I love the idea. And, I told you also that I briefly discussed, actually a couple different times, talked to Matt from Chicago Hammers and try to pull him in and say, listen, you're active. Well, let's get you active with what we're doing. We're more than happy to give you a platform to do whatever you want to do. You pick it even. I said, listen, Matt, you pick whatever you want to do. Just come on in and do it. So yeah. He was keen on the idea. So same thing with Casey. Casey says he wants to help do more stuff for the network too. So
yeah. Casey and I love talking just anything about soccer, especially West Ham. He's extremely knowledgeable. So was Matt too. I mean, Matt was born in I think he was raised in Dagenham, pretty close to the East End. So both very knowledgeable guys, and definitely going to try to convince him to do a little more as well. Yeah, no,
we had Casey on Monday night. He popped in and filled in. We had a good time. Again, with no guest. We've been having guests like, I don't know. It's not always my fault either. This last night was my fault, but yeah, we had a couple like last minute say, listen, I can't do it tonight. And like tonight, well, at least the guy tonight gave me a couple days notice. I just couldn't, it's tough to fill short notice. I usually book like a month out,
Yeah. But sometimes it's nice to just talk, sort of just talk like you're at a pub, just hanging out and
exactly.
Just talking West Ham sort of without the guest, although the guests are what makes this channel great as well. But yeah, we'll make it work, man. We'll have some fun and hopefully get a couple guys from the.
Well, I got at least one that says me. So, and this is actually one of the dudes I was talking about who's going to be doing a podcast for us with another British viewer of ours. We've had Steve on as a guest before, so we don't need to interview him again. He's just going to be coming on tonight to, join the banter. Really.
Awesome.
All right.
I don't think I've met Steve yet.
No, I guarantee he's been on the chat room when you've had shows before.
When
you've done shows, but I don't think you've actually met him. All right, let's figure out how I could pull Steve in here. But real quick, why don't you give us a little? We haven't really heard from you necessarily. Yeah. What do you think about last week's match? While I try to pull this guy in.
Yeah, I briefly talked about it on the Facebook thread that we got going on. I was livid. I mean, I didn't expect to get a result. A draw would have been nice, but that was a little hopeful for me. I thought we would lose, but all I asked was for us to play well, play hard. I'm not going to question anyone's effort, although I don't think everyone's effort was up to snuff.
Yeah.
But man, we just got it. You know, it reminded me of the Village days where, you know, the scoreline would suggest that we're playing tough. You know, maybe we'd only be down 1-0, and then once that like second goal goes in like the 50th, 60th, 70th minute, the floodgates open, and they'd score 2 or 3 or 4 more before it was all said and done. Back in the Village days, the issue was conditioning or lack thereof. I thought we were a little out of shape as well. So hopefully that gets fixed really quick. But yeah, I was pissed, man. I was pissed. I did not expect to lose 5-0. I did not want to lose 5-0.
No.
And I thought we were very, very poor.
Yeah, a lot of people were satisfied. Not satisfied. I can't say that. No, not satisfied. But they said they expected it. Oh, it's no big deal.
You going and expecting a 5-0? I mean, okay.
Why the fuck would we show up, right? You know,
if you're expecting 5-0, and again, sorry for the background noise. I'm sorry if you're expecting 5-0. I mean, I don't even know why you even watch the game. Why do you even watch the game then if you're going to expect that? If I was expecting that, and no disrespect if you did, but if I was going to expect that, I wouldn't have watched the game.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah, so
I
was a guy from Crossed Hammers who we've had on the show a couple times, and he's not everyone's cup of tea. He's very brash and whatnot, but he nailed it on the head. Yeah, he nailed it on the head when he said, you know, it doesn't matter who the hell we play. I mean, the players get paid the same. We still have to pay the same amount for admission. I mean, you know, people are forking over, you know, the same amount of money on the beer. They don't discount the beer at the match when we're playing City because we're going to lose. I mean, they should go out to, you know, to be winning. We should not be happy with the 5-0 smashing to start off the season. So we're already like, it's kind of like we start the season with points deducted, you know, for something. You know, we're negative 3 points already.
We dropped some points. And like I said,
and goal differential. Yeah.
And goal differential. And like I said, I did not expect to go out and win. And I don't think there were people that were like happy with the result. I just think that there were some people that were just content. And I didn't like that. I was pretty upset about that. So again, I think it'll all be forgotten if we get 3 points versus Brighton. It'll all be forgotten.
Yeah.
And we'll move forward. But as we all know, going to the Amex has not been kind to us the last few years. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Let's bring in Steve Mothersoul, my brother from another mother over there in England. What's happening, my man? Hey.
Hi, I'm just in from work. Hello, mate.
You just got home from work, you said?
Yes, mate. Yeah.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, work. Bus for 10 hours.
Woo! Your ass must be killing you, man. I don't know. That's a tough one, man. I can't imagine sitting that long.
Oh, mate, it does my head in.
Speaking of does my head in.
What's going on? What have I missed?
Not much. We're going to go over some news items shortly. Basically, we're just going to type in West Ham in the search engine and read off of the different news articles that are recent. And if anything piques our interest, we'll discuss it. And then if that does us no good, well, we'll move on to Hammers polls and discuss a few of those and give each of our opinions on those.
Hey, Tim, before we go on, though, I'd love to hear Steve's opinion on what we just talked about, sort of his opinion on.
He actually is the person who gave us his instant match reaction, and we uploaded it to our YouTube channel. But now that we've had a few days to reflect, Steve, you change your mind at all?
Not at all, no. No, I feel vindicated, to be honest, because I did that like an hour after the game ended.
Yeah.
And people were saying to me, calm down, Steve. It was United, you know?
Yeah.
So you were pissed,
not United, it was City. Calm
City.
Down, Steve. It was City. And then 24 to 48 hours later, the videos and podcasts and things were coming out, pretty much saying what I sat there and said. So.
I know.
And Steve, I didn't see your reaction. So can you summarize what you said?
We came out the blocks really well. the
I thought
first
so.
25 minutes, we were really good.
Yep.
Pinging the ball about. Everybody up on the terraces was all looking at each other like, what the hell is going on here? Who are we, Brazil?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think City really knew what hit them either. And then they scored, and it was like last season again.
Yeah, that's what we're afraid of. So everybody in our good friend Gaz is in the chat room too. He says, I ain't happy we got battered, but I'm not sad about it either. True, but at the same time, now if it repeats itself after starting the season off like that, and it starts to repeat itself, and then we're looking at the same thing as last year as well, on top of shit, games in a row. So if we lose to Brighton, we lose to Watford, which could happen.
Well, it could, yeah.
Those are teams that beat us.
The other thing you got to think of as well, Tim. Everybody has a 38 game season, except West Ham. West Ham has a 37 game season, and we start our season on -5.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
Yeah.
I know. So let's see what. Go ahead.
No, I said again. It happens again.
Oh yeah. Let's review some of these. Do I even have this pulled up? No, I don't. Sorry, you guys can't see that. Now we can see it. Hey,
yeah.
There we go. All right, so I type in West Ham in the search engine or Google. Obviously, this is what pops up. The first thing that we see is from Squawka saying, Manuel Pellegrini says we wanted to keep Adrian at West Ham. I'll just open it for the hell of it. But what are you guys' thoughts? Let's start with Justin.
I mean, I don't. I believe him. I think he's I think he was a very good option as a second choice keeper. A proven Premier League goalie, experienced, a really good shot stopper on his day. Very, very good shot stopper. He always had a mistake in him though. That on top of Fabianski's excellent season, he's never gonna sniff first choice. But I believe him. He would have been a great option, and we all thought he wanted to go for first team football. And I honestly think he did. I mean, which professional? All professionals really they want to play.
He did, but that was an offer he couldn't refuse.
Exactly. You're with the European champions. I'm sure he has a nice wage as well. So, I'm happy for him. It was awesome to see him come in the game versus Norwich. I didn't see the Super Cup. I heard he played all right. It's great to see. I liked Adrian, always had, and always will. So really happy for him.
Yeah, Steve.
Yeah, it was an odd one him going to Liverpool, but I can understand why he did it. I agree. I thought he left us first team football.
Yeah, we all did.
I think Liverpool must have offered him a lot of money.
They offered him more money. They offered him, I think, 20 or 30 more grand a week than what he was getting with us. That's what the reports were. I can't remember if it was 20 or 30 more grand a week. But the thing was that he's still going to, he knew ahead of time he was going to get minutes because he would be second choice keeper is what he was told. And that means between all the European competitions and the League Cups and this, that, and everything else, he was going to get plenty of playing time. Yeah, that's what the reports are. So, but again, they're leading up to that point where they just came in and swooped him. There was not many options for him. And he wanted first team football. So he kept putting it off with his agent and everything else, saying, listen, let's hold off. Let's wait and see if something comes. And sure enough, Liverpool comes in with this offer. He made the right decision after all, right? I mean, he's playing with Liverpool. He's going to be playing a lot of more minutes than he would have at West Ham.
Because where else would he have gone? Where else would he have gone, really? I mean, maybe
Spain and Portugal. Those are the two countries.
Exactly. And there's no way his wage would have even come close to what he's getting at Liverpool over there. No way. I mean, the closest he could have gotten is staying in the Premier League. I mean, I'm sure he could. I can't think of a team right off the top of my head that he would be better than their starting keeper. I'm sure there's a couple, but yeah, right choice, I think. I really like your point about anticipating all the League Cups, all the FA Cups, Europe as well. And now, I mean, bad luck for Allison, but good luck for him. And yeah, he made the right decision.
Yeah,
You're
sorry,
right.
Justin. I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at Gabe.
The comment, yeah.
Yeah. These people, man. So, Justin, I don't know if you when I was on with Casey, I believe, and
Yeah.
What was the
Ben-
comment, by the way? I didn't see it.
So basically, the other night I was pulling up the Hammers polls, and I had the screen share on, and then on the right hand side, I wasn't even paying attention. It says trending for you, and then right at the top, it was like Mia Khalifa and Dick Sweat and Joe Biden or something like that, or whatever, and we spent a good 10 minutes on that discussion. I think it was Wally that pointed out, or Gabe, I can't remember, but basically Gabe was saying tonight, hey, make sure you clear your search history, Tim. And he says we don't need Mia Khalifa's popping up like last time. Yeah.
Did you guys? I'm trying to keep it PG here, but did you guys hear the story of how much she made in her career total?
Yeah.
What
total? Was it total? I thought it was the last year.
I read total. I mean, maybe it was total this last year.
Yeah, I think.
But either way,
even still, that's not much. I mean, I'm no expert, but I don't think that's a lot of money.
I mean,
for that.
Can we swear on this, Tim, or no?
Yeah, sure. Why not? Yeah, just
I mean,
again, someone asked. Yeah, she did.
Pun intended.
Just so everybody knows, what I was told is that as long as we're not excessive, we can swear just fine.
Okay.
But now when I have to have the Crossed Hammer boys on, I have to make sure that I say like explicit in the title. Yeah, and stuff like that. So anyway, she did get fucked, but yeah, literally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. She got ripped off. Gabe says that's funny. So listen, if anybody else pop in the chat room that wants to join us before we get into, we still have some more news to get into, and then also the Hammers polls. But feel free. We do have space for one more person. It looks like this StreamYard can handle 4 very smoothly, but any more than that, not so much. And by the way, Justin, that background noise that you were talking about is very minimal when it comes up.
That's good.
Like very minimal, so it's not even a problem yet. All right, that's not the one. Let's see. Oh, so $70,000 a week is what I was being told is that what he's getting over at Liverpool. So I think he was making
what, 50?
I think 40 or 50 with us. That's why I'm saying it was like 20 or 30 more.
That's wasn't he?
Okay, then so he's making 20 more grand a week. I mean, it's not even really the money as much. I mean, if you think about it over a long period of time, yes, it is a big chunk of money. But for a footballer anyway, it's obviously a big chunk of money for anybody. But I'm just saying it's the fact that he's going to be playing European competitions. He's definitely going to be getting minutes. Good on him, man. Very happy for him.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So, I'll get into that one next. Never mind. So it basically says West Ham and the 125 million gang of strikers as host of summer targets make big moves. I don't know what this is even about. Actually, Hammers News. I'm not even sure that's really a legitimate site or not. Yeah. Sebastian Haller, yeah, 45 million. Pablo Fernandez is not a striker, so I'm going to just get right out of that one. They don't know what they're talking about. Okay, so predicted lineup for Brighton. It says Manuel Pellegrini will make 2 big changes. You guys want to predict what these changes are before I open up the email here? Not email, the webpage?
Sure. Steve, you want to go first?
Well, injuries
What would you
aside,
change? What would you change?
Injuries aside, it's the first one's got to be the left back, surely.
Yeah. Yeah, Masuaku for Cresswell. I was going to say the same thing.
Definitely. Yeah.
And if you had one other option, what would it be? I guess what Anderson. He said Anderson and Wilshere will be fine. They'll be fit for the match.
Yeah,
what about Haller?
That's what he was saying tonight. That apparently Haller might be injured.
Yeah.
All right. So what do you think? Think Chicha?
No.
I hope it's a Jetty guy.
Let's see what they're saying. Good old Hammers News again.
I kind of hope Yarmolenko's fit.
He has been fit. I mean, well, I can't say fit. No, I'm sorry. He's not injured at all. It's just, is his fitness up? I don't know. He looked really sluggish in the preseason. I would love an answer here. I guess I just got to scroll away to the bar. But Masuaku. Yep, that's one of them.
That's got to be.
It looks like Fornells for Allaire. Yeah. So are you serious with Michail Antonio?
On top, yeah.
Antonio up top, yeah.
Oh, God, that's it.
So Steve, I'm actually going to go on the other side here. Listen, I think I would rather have a Jetty on up front, but against a physical team like Brighton, I don't think Antonio is the worst option. I actually think the worst option would be Chicharito in this case.
Exactly.
Yeah. Now, I'm not saying I want Antonio to start, Tim. Don't get angry at me.
I'm not angry at you. I'm not. I'm not angry at any of you.
I don't know if you could hear me when you
frustrated, man. Every time we do, no, I didn't hear you. I'll have you repeat yourself in 1 second, but I just want to say real quick. Every time that we have that rapid fire question during one of our interviews, we get to a question that says, who frustrates you the most on the current West Ham squad? And 90% of the time, everyone says Antonio. If he frustrates us all so much, why, number one, why is he even in this club? Why isn't he playing in some championship club somewhere? Number two, he's so inconsistent. I don't understand what value does he bring, to a side that now we started to sign these elite class players. He doesn't fit in, man. He doesn't fit in. I don't know. That's my opinion. But anyway, what were you saying while I was gone?
So what I said was I still the top striker option minus Hilaire for me versus Brighton would be the Ajeti fella. But I was telling Steve that Antonio, in my opinion, is not the worst option for striker. In fact, I think the worst option we could have against a team like Brighton is Chicharito, because Antonio is that physical, fast specimen of a player. You have to admit he's a world-class athlete, in my opinion. Just big and strong and fast. And against a very physical team like Brighton, who are going to play three at the back, it's not the worst option for me, is what I'm saying. And I also want to say that I think Antonio, before he was subbed off at half yesterday, I thought he had a pretty good game in the first half. I really thought he did. I thought he played well.
Yeah, he did.
Go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, he did. He had a good game.
I thought he had his moments, just like always. I thought you're right. I mean, you're right, but we get blinded by moments of brilliance or moments of class. Same thing with Fredericks. People get blinded all the time with a good thing that he does and forgets about the three other fuck ups they just did. I think you're absolutely right. Justin, he is an absolute specimen, absolute athlete, 100%. Footballer, not so much.
He needs to work on it. I'm excited to see if he has worked on it.
He's fucking almost 30 years old.
Well, he can improve by not hitting the ball into row Z every time. Maybe if he hits it into row G once in a while, it's an improvement. No, but really, I'd like to see if he has improved at all on his finishing. Maybe he has. I don't know. All I'm saying is it's not the worst option. I think Chicharito would be the worst option against the Brighton. We'll see. I hope this is a moot point. I hope Hilaire is fit.
Since I've been doing this show, I've had 2 private messages, based off of the rants that I have about certain players and how upset I get with certain players. And they basically told me that my standards are too high for this club. And they said I should go support another club. And I told them absolutely fuck no. The point is that for once in my life, we're actually, in most everybody's life here, we're seeing an improvement in signings, an improvement of class players coming into this club. So I feel that that's the direction we should keep going in instead of going backwards. Like this summer when we were linked with Mitrovic and Rondon. I thought that was the most asinine thing in the world. That's a step backward or a sidestep. It's not a step forward like Allaire or a Fornals or an Anderson or a Lanzini. Like, those are class players. Now, the players that we're stuck with, the Nobles, the Snodgrass, Antonio, the Fredericks is a championship player. He's not even in that second tier. Fabianski is a class player. I mean, he's borderline. He's like borderline class and average, because he's still, if you guys were watching this game at all, there was 2 of those goals that he could have easily prevented if he was fucking in the right goddamn position, and he wasn't. I mean, it's always the case, but we're like,
what he did on that last goal.
That's what I'm saying, but everybody seems to forget that. But that's aside the point. So my point is overall that, people like Antonio, when I get frustrated with Antonio, is because I expect a lot more now that we all should be expecting more out of our players. Like, not just a couple decent plays. And that also goes for these supposed class players too. When Anderson has a shit game, we should get on him too. We should get on our team for not fucking winning, or at least time. I can't say at least time. Like, it doesn't even come out of my mouth right. No, we should be getting on our team every time we fucking lose. Every time we should be getting on the players, on the manager, on the coaching staff, for not having the team, like Lee mentioned last night, not having the team prepared for the season. They looked unfit, half of them. You know what I'm saying? And we should be expecting more. Of course we should. We shouldn't be happy with the loss. But anyway, I think I'm done with the rant for right now. I'm starting to get a headache.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you, Tim, in that we should have expected more from the city game, and I think having high expectations is good, and I think with the signings and the summer business and the way we conducted it, it is true. The high expectations, I think, are realistic at most of the time. Like, I don't think we're going to get top 6. I think it also is important.
Why not though, man? No, seriously though, that's my point, Justin. Seriously, why not?
That's just my prediction. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, prediction. Okay,
prediction. I mean, I can't predict the future, but that's
no, you're right. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah,
prediction's one thing, but I mean, like,
I mean, it's my prediction. I don't think we'll get top 6, and I'll answer you. It's because I do think we're a few players away. Because if you look, we've improved, but look at the teams around us also. I mean, Wolves signed 11 players. Leicester City signed Tielemans and that Pryor guy. I don't know the other business they did, but it was good. Everton improved. And I'm not saying we can't get top 6. I'm not saying it's out of the realm of possibility. But I also think that you have to look at the other teams around us. There's so much money in this Premier League that other teams are improving just as much as we are.
Yeah. Steve, what do you think?
Yeah. We were onto a loser from the off, though. I think when they made it public at the beginning of the summer that we only had 25 million or maybe 30 million or whatever it was, and in the end it creeped up to 40 million to spend. So we were restricted from the get-go. And like Justin was just saying, these other teams have spent vast amounts of money this year. I know we spent 100 million last year, but I think we should have carried on going. There's no reason. There's like you were saying, there's so much money in this league. There's no reason why we couldn't have maybe just gone the extra yard. We what we bought was good, but we should have bought some more. We should have looked at the problem positions like the fullback.
Yeah, I wonder what the real story is behind that. There's got to be some reason why. I mean, Pellegrini and Huselos, they made some awesome, amazing signings, right? Allaire was a brilliant signing. Nobody saw that coming. It was just just amazing. How can somebody who can make that type of signing not make signings at other key areas? How can they let that go? I mean, there's got to be a reason, right?
Well, I just don't think they were a lot of the funds to go get everyone that they wanted. I think they needed to pick and choose their battles. I'm
pretty sure that even 4 or 5 million they could have picked up somebody who's better than Cresswell. You know what I mean? Or fucking Fredericks. I mean, come on.
4 or 5 million, though. I mean, does that really get you a lot these days?
That's what I'm saying. Though. These guys have brains in their head. They're actually great scouts. They're brilliant. I mean, look what they did with. I mean, Allaire and Fornals to begin with. That's what I'm saying. Those are 2 amazing. So that's one end of the spectrum. They made those 2 brilliantly scouted, amazing signings, and
Yeah.
yet they couldn't figure out how to come up with somebody from some other friggin' league that no one's even paying attention to, that might have a superstar that no one else is seeing or paying attention to. And why didn't they, like, I don't know.
I think Pellegrini rates Ben Johnson highly. I think he might be thinking, well, you know, if and he can play left or right.
Future, I do too. I think he's gonna be amazing, and I hope he can step in sooner rather than later. And he did show glimpses of it, but he also showed glimpses that he's not ready to. That's tough. He's like 50.
Was he 19, 20?
Exactly. So
yeah. I also think that maybe because he is such an attacking manager, maybe Pellegrini just didn't think that the defense was a problem. He was thinking, you know, we're going to attack so much, we're going to score so many goals.
Yeah.
And
Attack is the best defense.
If we need to address the defense, we'll do it in January.
I suppose so. I mean, well, I'd much rather search for defense in January than a striker in January. Yeah. We all know how that goes down. It's never pretty in January. It's really difficult to find that problem area. But I mean, defense, I'm pretty sure James Tompkins will be available. Where's my banner? Where's my banner? There it is. All right. So but no, there'll be somebody there. It could be anywhere. I mean, listen, I'd take someone from Turkey right now. I mean, I'd take someone from Neil's league down under, you know, in Australia. I mean, I really don't care. I mean, there's got to be somebody out there. I mean, dude, this planet is massive. You're telling me that there's nobody?
If you get so desperate, you might get a turkey.
But at the same time, you understand what I'm saying, though? Like, think about all the footballers in the whole world and all the professional leagues across the globe. You're telling me that Cresswell and Masuaku are like top 30 in the world?
Oh no, not at all. But Tim, also, you know, he just signed Masuaku to a 5-year deal. He rates Ben Johnson. He does have Cresswell. I'm not saying he's good, but he does have him. I mean, that's three players who can play left back, two of which he rates. I mean, and like Steve said, he's an attacking minded manager. That's obviously wasn't a priority. Now, I'm not saying that. I honestly think Pellegrini probably wanted to get another fullback. Probably, I'd say probably more on the right, but I just don't think he was a lot of the funds. At least to get a player that he thought was of quality. He probably could have gotten a $3 or $4 million pound fullback, but if he doesn't think that, you know, that player's quality, you know, why spend the money? I don't know. We'll never know. We're not in those meetings. We could hypothesize all we want.
Yeah, listen, I think Gabe is famous for starting arguments and starting rants. He knows how to poke me and Lee and Wayne's buttons, and he knows how much I love the MLS. So I think that's what he was trying to do there, get me to go on another rant. But no, listen, there probably is somebody better than Cresswell and Masuaku there. And now on the other note, Justin, Ben Johnson is nowhere near ready. I'm sorry, at left back, he's nowhere near as ready. He's much better suited as like if Ben Johnson was starting at right back Saturday, I'd be absolutely thrilled. I would be absolutely thrilled. I think he could absolutely handle that. Now the other side, he showed in preseason that he's just not ready for that yet, but he can play either side. He can. Is he? My point is that is he better at left back than Masuaku Cresswell right now? Masuaku, no. I mean, Masuaku, I think, is decent. I think they signed him to a long-term contract to be a backup because Cresswell is probably going to be gone soon.
That's a good point.
I don't know. Does anybody know Cresswell's deal when his contract ends?
I can search it really quick.
Go for it. Yeah, because I'd be curious as to why they extended Masuaku, who's clearly not a Premier League number one, to such a long contract, especially at his age. You know, unless they had something else in mind in January or the end of the summer.
So his contract, he has this season and next season.
What else? So he's got 2 more seasons. All right.
Yeah,
sorry, I was laughing at the comment again.
Is there a way to see? Is there a way to see the comments like as not as they come because they come up on the screen and then they go away? Is there like
That's
a
me?
list of the?
I'm doing that.
Okay.
Yeah, so I can see it because I get the control panel. Unfortunately,
Okay.
I get the whole shebang. Now, if Justin, if you were hosting the show one night, which you probably will at some point, if you want to, then you'd have all of it. You'd have the whole 9 yards. I don't know what you can see, but all I know is I can.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, Tim. I was gonna ask what you guys thought of Patrick Von Aanholt.
Yeah, that's a good question. What do you think, Steve?
Of what? Sorry.
Patrick Van Aanholt.
Yeah, Patrick Von Aanholt, Palace left back. Played for Sunderland as well.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's one of he's one of many. He doesn't stand out for me for any reason, so I couldn't really comment.
What do you think, Justin? Is there a reason why you brought that up? You think he stands out, or
Yeah,
is it a contract?
He popped up when I was looking up Cresswell. I don't know. I'm just thinking of. I mean,
a couple of years ago, his name came around a lot. You know what I mean? I don't know. Just like Cresswell did, but I mean, yeah, that's a tough position, really, to be honest with you. Now that I'm really thinking about it, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he had a good season at Palace last year. I think he was overshadowed by Wan Bissaka a lot in terms of fullbacks, but I think he's a very from the little I've seen of him, he's a very good crosser of the ball, putting the ball into the box, which I also think Cresswell used to be. I think his confidence has gone downhill. But I think that's someone that we need, especially with that a big man like Haller in there, who can get his head on the ball. I was looking up comparable players, and his name came up, and I just a very attack-minded fullback, a good crosser of the ball, good line drive, curling kicks towards net. I don't know. Maybe
can he pop up as well because he's similar in age? Like, what's his age?
Let me look that up.
Because usually that's what happens. Usually when they like the similar ones pop up, it's usually around the same age.
Yeah, he's 28.
Well, 20. Yeah, I mean it's not that bad. I mean,
he has 2 years on his deal as well.
I think I really don't know what the hell they're gonna do. I don't know what the hell their plans are. It's the most mysterious coaching staff and scouting staff I've ever seen in my life.
I don't mind really. I don't mind the fact that these leagues aren't getting out anymore.
You're right. I love that. Maxi Gomez had to have been a smokescreen because there was no reason on this planet why we should have signed him. And I'm so happy that we got Haller instead, and they snuck that in there. And the guy had no intention of coming to this club. But anyway, so the problem is the results. Like, you do these amazing signings. Now, coach, man. Manage, man. Get your staff going, man. Like, get your players fit, man. Like, Manuel, do something. Yeah. I'm not saying Pellegrini out. I'm not even close to that point, obviously. But if we go if we go 0-9, absolutely.
But we're not going to go 0-9.
You never know, man. The whole team could get injured.
We go 0-9. I'll resign. Seriously.
Yeah, pretty much.
Resign from being a fan or what?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, I'll just resign, period.
Just resign.
I'll just resign.
Yeah.
Quit my job, quit my life.
Yeah, everything. Oh, boy, 0-9.
0-9, yeah, it's funny. Well, I always bring that up because I'll never forget one of my favorite managers who nobody else likes him in this club, Neil Warnock. I love him because he looks so strange and he's just so passionate, man. I love that, even though he was on the wrong end of the passion with Sheffield. But when he was with QPR and had them promoted back in for the 11-12 season, the season that we were down in Championship, he didn't have a win in 9 matches and they fucking sacked his ass. And but he got them promoted, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was just trying to imagine, like, that's the last person I really knew that went like 0-9 other than Mark Hughes or what about Fulham last year? What was their they sacked their manager was
Yeah,
awesome, dude.
yeah, Milovic,
Jovovich or Jovanovic, what the fuck is it? Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, high stakes once you get up to the Premier League. There's no messing around with all the money that you stand to lose if you go down. Yeah, there's 38 matches, and you can't be messing around. Once you think that you can't stay up with that manager, given the amount of games you have left, there's just no choice.
Some clubs need it more than others, obviously, to stay up.
Yeah,
they need that money. You know.
Yeah.
All right, let's see if there's any other interesting news that we could discuss. Oh, Jesus.
Which I'm just curious. Which 3 teams did you guys select to go down this year? Predict to go down.
Sheffield United, Palace, and I think I picked Brighton. I can't remember.
Tim?
I know I did Palace and Sheffield United though.
Interesting.
Yeah, let's. What the hell did I pick?
I think they're playing each other this week, actually.
You what? Sorry.
I said I think they're playing each other this week, Palace and Sheffield.
That'll be a good game, yeah.
Brighton to go down as well. I mean, they sure as hell didn't look like a team going down. I mean, I know it's only one game, but I picked them to go down. They struggled so much in the last half of the season, so poorly. They were so poor, and I just thought, I don't know how they're going to stay up.
I can't count how many people out of all the people who sent us their table predictions selected Sheffield at the bottom.
Yeah, I did.
Almost everybody, you know. And is it because of this, like, you know, the hatred for the club, or is it actually like, do you actually analyze the club? I mean, because they got a decent manager, they got a decent crew. Nobody predicted them to go up last year.
It's wishful thinking, Tim.
Exactly. I had before. See, I made my predictions unfortunately before Newcastle signed Steve Bruce, and they made a few actual signings because they hadn't made any signings all summer up to that point. So I had Newcastle 18th, Bournemouth 19th because I fucking hate them. They don't belong in this league. They belong in League 2 with their tiny stadium.
Why are you so down on Bournemouth?
I would love to visit Bournemouth. I would love to go there as long as no one who watches my show sees me there.
But why are you so down on them?
Shit manager, shit club, tiny stadium. They don't have. I honestly believe that there should be minimum standards in the Premier League, and every club should have a minimum of 30,000 seats.
You're gonna eliminate too many teams.
Not really. I mean, there's a lot. I know there's a lot in the mid to high 20s. I know that, but
yeah, I mean Norwich wouldn't make it. I don't think Sheffield would make it.
But Sheffield would. Sheffield and Sheffield Wednesday would have to come up.
I don't think Palace would. I don't think
Ipswich would have to come up. I mean, they have a massive stadium too. There's a whole bunch of clubs. I know, like Norwich. It's a boutique club. You know, Norwich. They belong in Championship.
I don't think Brighton would be up.
Burnley would be down. Villa would be up.
I had Burnley, not Brighton. It was Burnley. Sheffield United, Burnley, and Palace.
Okay. I have Brighton on the far bottom, but that was mainly just because of last year, and again, it was before a couple of their, like, signing Mapai and all that other shit, and they got a nice manager. I didn't realize how good the manager was. But no, my top. But here we go. If you want to, let's reverse this and actually go top 6. We might as well, since let's just kill some time here. I actually have Wolves in the top 6 this year.
Yeah, I disagree with you there.
Me too.
Yeah, I just think their squad will. I know they signed 11 players or 12, but I mean, see, they're going to get into Europa League group stage, and that could just be a killer of a tournament with all the travel. I'm not saying they won't have a good season. I think they're a well-managed team and talented, but I don't know. I just don't think they have the talent to spread their squad that thin in order to get top 6 and play Europa.
Well, that's the difference between them and say, pretty much any club really, is that the thing that they have that nobody else has is a level of consistency across the board with depth of around the same level. So basically, their bench player is right behind their starter in talent. There's no
very good.
There's no superstars in that club that there's not someone right behind them pushing them who, if they got an injury, they have someone to fill right in. They're a complete squad. No, they're not superstars by any means. I'm not saying, I don't know. All I'm saying is that the level of consistency, they showed a lot of that last year before they made a lot more smart signings this year. I think that they'll end up in top 6 because Frank Lampard is a shit manager, and Frank Lampard is going to be lucky to get 8th place this year, especially with the transfer ban and no Hazard. I've said that, and sure enough, just watch their match against Manchester United.
And they have Champions League as well.
Yeah, they're fucked pretty much. So they're out. I mean, I put them 8th for no fucking reason other than there was nobody below them that deserves to be higher than them. And then, I don't know. It's just those are 2 things that really stand out. But again, whatever I predict is usually the opposite. So
who did you have for your top 3, Tim?
I have City, United, and West Ham.
Shut up.
Yep.
You picked West Ham to finish 3rd.
Pretty much because Tottenham's squad is so thin. They have a starting. So this is the opposite of Wolves. They have a starting 11.
Yeah.
With 1 weak position and no depth. So if they get injuries, they're fucked, and they'll be lucky if they get 4th. I did put them in 4th, just because I hate Liverpool and I could never put them higher than 5th. And Arsenal is going to have a few key injuries this year, and their manager is, I don't know.
Oh, well, who was your top 3 again?
City, United, and West Ham.
Oh, it's 10.
Well, there's one there that's totally ridiculous, isn't there?
United?
Yeah, United aren't going to get in the top 3.
Well, I did some analyzing in Tim's analyzingworld.com. And basically I felt that between Liverpool and that was before they signed Adrian too. You got to give me credit for that. I mean, you cut me some slack with that one. But anyway, I hate Liverpool, and what was I saying? Oh yeah, so Man United, I think definitely will smash them this year, like they smashed Chelsea. I think they'll smash a lot of teams like they did. A lot of people think that Ole Gunnar Kakafarts, whatever his name is a great, it isn't a great manager, but he doesn't have to be with the squad that he has. And they proved that last week against Chelsea. Well, again, Chelsea's a shit team, but I don't know. Maybe I'm overtired.
Yeah, Tim, I mean, in all fairness,
I need some sleep.
I hope you're right, man. But I in terms of Spurs, I want to say, I mean, as much as I hate them, last year they even had less depth, and they finished 3rd, and they had injuries to some of their top players throughout the season, and they made it to the Champions League final. As much as I hate Spurs, as much as we all do, you have to admit that Pochettino is a world-class manager who consistently gets the best out of his players, and I cannot see Spurs going outside the top 4 this year, unless they lost, 5 or 6 of their guys. But you can say that about any team.
They only need to lose 2, my man. If they lose Harry Kane or Dele Alli, they're fucked.
But they lost Harry Kane for half the season last year, 1/3 to half the season. If they lost him for the whole year,
Yeah.
I would then tell you, okay, there's a chance they fall out the top 4. I would agree, but you have Lucas right there.
Yeah, I know. But dude, come on.
Tim, I hope you're right, man. I hope you're right.
I know, but Tottenham, man, come on. Yeah, I can't even say the word without fucking vomiting. You know what I mean? Like, how could anybody with respect to West Ham ever predict them to be? I mean, I should get slapped in the face for predicting they'll go finish 4th. You know what I'm saying?
Did anyone not pick City to win?
Jesus Christ, that's a good question. I think one person jokingly said, who the hell was it? I don't have all of them pulled up right now, but no, I have like City.
All three of us.
All the number 2s and number 3s are like flip-flopped. I have like a bunch of people. Listen, what's wrong with people? I have a bunch of people who have like Chelsea finishing like 2nd or 3rd. Really?
I don't see that happening.
No.
Like,
so all three of us chose City to win it all.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
So then I'll toss another question out. How many points did they win the title by?
Like 14 over United.
Or how many did they get?
No, how many? What is the gap between 1st and 2nd?
Oh, like 14. I mean, because it's United. I mean, they can still finish 2nd, finish 14 points behind. You know, if the rest of the teams in the league beat the shit out of each other, which they will this year. I think it's gonna be a really messy season, with City just gliding, to the top. I don't know. I think it's possible.
What about you, Steve?
You think it'll be tight?
Not. Yeah. Yeah, I reckon it's only going to be about 5 or 6 points.
It's just so funny that a lot of the other podcasts and also just the media in general, they're all saying it's going to be City and Liverpool again, but a lot of these predictions that we got in, and I'm telling you, I got about 40 different predictions from our previous guests.
Yeah.
And I got a couple people who put Tottenham at 2nd. I got Chelsea at 2nd. I got a couple, I'd say about half say Liverpool. And then the other half picked United or Chelsea or Arsenal or whoever.
I put Liverpool as 3rd because I actually thought the Spuds were going to split them. I've got them for 2nd.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's switch gears because it's about time to wrap up. I will do let's do 2 Hammers polls because they go fairly quickly. We'll finish off with this. I'm sorry, everybody in the chat room. I don't have Wayne with me tonight as the producer person pulling in all of these comments. I try doing it, but I can't keep up with it and try to talk at the same time. I'm so sorry. But thank you all for sticking with us tonight. I do see that the chat room is very active tonight, so thank you. Let's get the Hammers poll up. Well, first of all, let's see if it's actually Hammers polls or if it's no, it's not. All right. Let's try this again.
Steve, where are you based out of the UK?
There we go.
Southeast London.
Nice.
I'm about a 15-minute drive from Charlton Athletic. As it happens.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, I remember that now. Yeah, we talked about that. I took a walk from the O2 all the way to the stadium and then back because I went to a concert and I was way too early to go see. Yeah, there was no one there. The season was over. Actually, it was they had played a playoff game the day before, and I missed it. But it was nice to see that massive stadium in that neighborhood. It was really cool to see that. Yeah. All right. So the first
absolute nightmare on game day because that's where my route takes me. I actually drive up.
Those streets are tight. Yeah, those streets are narrow, very tight.
And it is a nightmare on game day.
Yeah, well, drivers are nightmares to begin with over there, man. I almost had a panic attack. I drive like a maniac over here, I think. And
I was going to say, seriously, coming from you, they drive.
Oh, I know, from a asshole. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh God, you mean, listen, no, tailgating is like you guys get so you get so close and you go so fast and get so close to the person in front of you, man. And then you guys move so fit, but it's so uniform. It's like you've been drilling it since you were like 6 years old, all of you.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't see barely any accidents over there, but I was shocked. But it still gave me I hate roller coasters, man. You know, and that was just one big one.
And I do that on driving a double-decker bus as well.
That's mental, man. Dude, when I go over there, I gotta get a ride on one of those. All right. So the question here is, if you could bring back one player in the form that they were in from the 1980 FA Cup winning team, who would it be? Billy Bonds, Trevor Brooking, Alvin Martin, or Alan Devonshire?
Oh.
Steve.
I bet a lot of people have said Trevor Brooking because he scored the goal, but I would say Alan Devonshire.
Yeah, because it's basically from that from the winning team. It doesn't necessarily mean I don't think that match, but maybe just that season even. You say Devonshire. What about you, Justin?
Yeah, so I'll admit I'm not too familiar. I mean, I know who all these players are, but I'm not too familiar with.
There's no wrong answer, so
yeah. I'm not familiar where they were in their career at the times. You know, I think Bonds and Brooking were towards the end of their careers at this time, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
I personally, just from what I've heard from some of the Chicago guys who are a bit older, and just from some fans that I've met in my couple trips to London, I would have loved to see Billy Bonds play. Just the tenacity that he showed on the pitch is what drew a lot of people to him, and I like that type of player, that type of gritty player that's also a bit talented as well. So I'd probably select Billy.
Well,
yeah.
It's only been up for 4 hours, and there's already 156 votes, which is I was looking at that. I'm like, wow, that's they usually get like 600, 900, 1,000 votes. But it's only been up for 4 hours. So I'll just pick one that you guys didn't pick and see what the results were. It looks like Billy Bonds and Trevor Brooking are damn close, 41 and 38%, with Devonshire 20%, and the one that I selected, 2%. Alvin Martin, that's one I'm trying to get on the show. Trying. I have.
It may be tough given that his son is on the team now.
Is he though? You know what I'm saying? Like, or is he? What do you think? I mean, you think he's gonna actually? I don't know. I can't say. Oh, Jesus Christ! I can't say anything bad about him. What am I doing here? I'm trying to get the guy on the show. Yeah. Well, yeah, he's definitely better than Roberto. And as much shit as I talk about Fabianski, yeah, give him a shot to start. But the thing is that no, we have a mutual friend. So we're gonna try to get him on soon. We have Matt Etherington coming up on Sunday for everyone who's watching this. I know I've mentioned it a million times already, but I have to keep saying it because I still don't believe it. I still don't believe it.
Incredible.
All right. Yeah, here we go. Manuel Pellegrini has revealed that both Sebastian Haller and Felipe Anderson could miss West Ham's trip to Brighton on Saturday, and this is from 5 hours ago, due to knocks they picked up against City. If Haller does miss the game, who then replaces him? A Jetty, whatever the hell you want to call him, Hernandez, Antonio, or the other option is two strikers, and then if so, which pair?
Now, the meaning of the question, is it who would we want to replace them, or who Pellegrini would pick?
How about you decide which you want to answer?
It's who you would want.
Yeah, who you would want.
Yeah, I mean, I think I was talking about it earlier. I'd pick a Jetty.
Yeah.
Antonio.
Give him a shot. It's Brighton, Antonio, fuck off, Steve. You get me riled up. All right. Well, I would say two strikers. Which pair? Hernandez and a Jetty. Oh
no, you can't pick two.
Well, I'm picking them because they're both not Antonio. So it completely eliminates Antonio.
All right then. So which midfielder are you dropping?
Anderson, because he's hurt. Oh yeah, that's right. They said in the question they say Haller and Anderson could miss the game. I would say rest Anderson because of his injury, and then Allaire, obviously, and then have. I'm joking. There's no way in hell I'd want 2 strikers, Steve. You should know me better by now. I just wouldn't pick Antonio, and I definitely wouldn't put Hernandez by himself. If I was to pick Hernandez, if Hernandez had to play, I would definitely put another striker with him. But anyway, I would go with Jetty. Give him a shot. It's Brighton. You know what I'm saying? If it was United, because we already played City. I mean, if it was United or Chelsea or not Chelsea sucks. A better team, then I would definitely. I'd probably put Antonio out there just because, like what you guys said, he's a bruiser and yeah.
So what would you do with Antonio then? Put him on the wing?
I'd put Antonio to. I'd put him on an airplane and send him to be an ambassador somewhere because he's a great guy. You know, he definitely represents the club in a nice manner. I wouldn't put him on the pitch. I really wouldn't at all.
I'd put him on the
I would have a fat Yarmolenko over him. I would have an unfit Yarmolenko over Antonio because he can actually pass the ball and has skill with his feet. Like he's not just an athlete. Yarmolenko can actually play football.
Tim, like I said earlier, I actually think this is a game for Antonio. This is a team that Antonio would actually help against with because it's the physical. It's Brighton's not all that quick. Yeah. Antonio's pace and strength combo, I think, would help us actually. I'm not. So I agree with you in terms
somebody has to be the devil's advocate. Come on, somebody has to be. Yeah. That's my role in this. If you guys haven't learned that by now, I'm half full of shit all the time. I'm saying every time I rag on Fabianski or I say I want James Tompkins back right this second, or I'm half telling the truth.
But you also don't like Antonio. You really don't like him. And if you could put him,
I love him as a person. I'd love to give him a big hug. I'd say, listen, man, love you, thank you. You know.
Yeah. Player though, as a player.
Yeah.
So if you're half full of shit, Tim, what's in the other half?
Brilliance. I don't know.
Stravecraft.
No, listen. Unfortunately, they pulled a. How can I say this? Basically, like you break up with someone and then you just ignore all their. You don't break up with them. Like you don't actually physically break up with them. They ghosted me pretty much. So basically, I asked for more coffee, and then 2 weeks later, they're telling me to take my sponsor jersey down. I mean, because I had a T-shirt for sale on Bonfire that had it looked like a jersey, American Hammers TV logo on the the crest thing right here, and then it's had Stravecraft coffee across the front, and then on the back had a sponsor logo like drinkwaredesign.com, and then had the number 19 on it. It looked kind of cool, and they said I didn't have permission to do that. And told me to take it down immediately. And then I said, so that's cool, but where's my coffee, which I haven't had in a couple months. And then they didn't say anything back. So, yeah.
Wow.
Well, again, there was never a contract anyway. When I started with them, it was just a matter of, hey, I love your coffee. I drink coffee every single episode on my YouTube channel that's growing, blah, blah, blah. I really appreciate it. We have with enough coffee to, drink through all my episodes. But back then, I was only doing like 1 or 2 a week.
Yeah.
And then I blew right through that and asked for more, and they said nothing. They just didn't give me any more. That's all. So anyway, that's the story for everybody who cares. All right. So anyway, I got to thank everybody in the chat room tonight. I do got to wrap this up. Gabe DeLeon, Gabe, you're awesome. You've been there a million times. Maybe you should pop back in with us if we do another one of these pull a guest from the chat room episode. Gary, same to you, man, from South Carolina. He's actually going to be doing a podcast with someone else who was in the chat room, Lucas. Lucas and Dave Sperry's in the chat room. He was just on our Jeez, my words are all fucking mixed up. Fantasy Premier League show the other night. So every Tuesday night we have a Fantasy Premier League show based off of our league that we have, and we have over 199 people in our league this year, and it's awesome. And we have a once a week show discussing that. We pull in guests from the league to discuss the league, etc. our league, and Dave was on with the dude from Minneapolis. It was a great show. Who else was in here tonight? I gotta think. Whole bunch of people. Gaz, you should have come in, man. That would have been fun too. What else? Chris. Can't pronounce your last name, man, but I know you're going to tell me how to do it sometime. Chris, I believe, is going to be, call him Chris H. How about that? This guy, Hristic, something. He's going to be doing a podcast for us too with Gingerbread. And yeah, that looks about it. But anyway, thanks everybody who tuned in. Really appreciate it. Is there anything else you guys would like to discuss before we leave tonight? Start with you, Steve.
One small point of order, if I may. The podcast that I'm putting together with Tebow, I'm not sure there'll be any comedy in it.
Okay.
I don't think I'm clever enough for that yet. Give me a chance to at least get the podcast going.
Okay.
I have a structure for it now. Anyway.
No, the structure looks great. I mean, I saw that. It looks great. You did send me a video, and you were like, it's going to be kind of like this, and that was funny. So I was assuming that's what you meant.
Yeah, no, that was kind of just like my original idea. Those two guys there come from a very old comedy show over here.
Yeah, one of those guys was in The Princess Bride. The guy on the left. Right. He was he played in the Princess Bride.
Great movie.
Yeah. And those two guys are known for doing those sort of head-to-head sketches.
And what's their names again, just so everybody knows who the hell we're talking about?
Mel Smith and Griff Rhys-Jones.
Yes, that's right. Cool. All right, so no, that's cool. But I appreciate you working on it. I know that you're definitely one of the 4 shows we have like in development, I guess you call it right now. Yeah. It's awesome, and we're looking forward to it. Basically, I told you, and I told Tebow, and I've told Lucas and Gary and everybody else, and Kevin and the guy from Iowa J and everybody else. I said, listen, we just want to give you guys a platform. There's not much room over here on the YouTube channel right now because we already have 3 other shows that are in development on the YouTube. So I don't want to put too much out each day. I just want to make sure that there's at least one thing going out each day. And then so I said, let's do the podcast thing and do the same type of thing, but just not the same type of shows with different opinions and different everything else, and have our friends do it. We made a lot of friends through the show and via the chat room and everything else. So I figured, give everybody an opportunity to take part in the fun. So
yeah, and where can we find the radio podcast?
Right now it is on SoundCloud. That's it's also on Google Play Music. It's also on Spotify. We only have so basically the second episode of the first show, the actual flagship show. The second episode was recorded last night, and I finally got my hands on the recording. Now I got to just edit it, and I'll put it out before midnight tonight. So the second episode of that will be out, and then I'm just waiting on like 4 other people to, finish developing the show and get it out there. And now I do have to put a poll out there. So anybody's watching this, go over to Twitter, and I'm going to post a poll real quick. With 3 different names for a potential show with Lucas and Gary and Costia from DC Irons and South Carolina, Holy City Hammers. They want the fans to pick their name. They came up with 3 different names, and they want you to help them pick. So check it out. Justin, I know you also have a couple podcasts. You want to mention those real quick before we leave?
Yeah, one podcast isn't really sports related.
Still, you mention it.
Yeah, sure. It's called the Vertical Podcast. Just talk with. I guess there's no real niche to it. It's just people that are doing unique, out of the box, interesting things in life. Started that a month ago. Got a few other people, like one guy who sort of like does like a Players Tribune. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Players Tribune in the States, where players sort of write their own content. But he's sort of starting a little one in Europe and getting him on there. So people like that. And then me and Casey, who has appeared on the show, we have a football podcast or soccer podcast called the OTL Football Podcast, Over the Line Football Podcast. We just launched our 4th episode, so we try to do that once a week. Casey's been spearheading it, and now that I'm done with all my moving, I'm going to be helping him too. And it's not a West Ham specific. It's not even Premier League specific. It's simply just a podcast about anything and everything soccer related.
Yeah. No, it's actually enjoyable. I really enjoyed it, and
oh, nice, thanks.
We had Casey on Monday, and he mentioned I let him mention that as well, and he was talking about how he wanted to get drunk with some Man United supporters or something like that, or you guys
Yeah, we spoke to them on Tuesday. We're trying to do that with a lot of the Chicago supporters crews. We're trying to invite them over, talk to them about their team, their crew, and soccer in general.
Where can we find those podcasts?
I should have mentioned that. So you can for both podcasts I mentioned, you could find the Vertical Podcast and the OTL Football Podcast on Apple. The Vertical Podcast on Spotify. The OTL one is not on Spotify. The OTL one is also on SoundCloud and Google Play. So Apple, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Yeah. I'll eventually get ours up on iTunes. I was just having technical difficulties getting that up there, but once I do, I will, and so on. But listen, SoundCloud's not that difficult, and also Spotify. I mean, you don't, and if those don't work, then Google Play. I mean, they're all. I mean, most of these are free services for the most part. I mean, most of them like free with ad or whatever. Just have a listen. And also what we've been doing, just so you guys know, with our podcasts, I forgot to mention this. I've never mentioned this yet. We're recording them on Skype. And then I'm extracting the audio and putting that out. I'm editing it and putting it out as a podcast. So that eventually we'll take the best bits and slice up the video and put them together into videos and put them on our YouTube channel for the best bits type of deal, or like bits of the week or whatever. So it'll be interesting. Anyway, guys.
Doing great things, guys.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Steve, pleasure as always.
Thank you.
Justin, pleasure as always. Glad to have you back. Glad to have you both back on the show. And like everybody in the chat room, thank you so much for sticking with us tonight. I can see that it's really late where everybody else is right now. We'll be back. Today Thursday. We'll be back on Saturday with some post-match instant reactions from. I know a couple of the supporters groups have already told us they're going to be submitting like 1 to 5 minute videos, after the match. Steve will hopefully send us another video after the match.
I will probably only do them for home games because I'll be working.
Oh, that's right.
Most of the away game. So.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I forgot about that. But even still, we'll all look forward to that. And I think Chicago Hammer's gonna be doing some stuff too. And I know like Dallas and Fresno are gonna be sending us some stuff. And it should be good. So anyway, Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern time, we have Matt Etherington on the show, and then in the evening, we have somebody else, and I forgot who it is. So just stay tuned, and you'll find out. All right, have a great evening. I'm exhausted. I need to go to bed. I'm gonna wake up early. All right, come on, you Irons.
Come on, you Irons.
Cheers, guys.